Hello, friends, and welcome. Namaste. Uh, I had recorded one weekly check-in for you last week, but it didn't turn out very well. And so I'm going to go back to that subject matter for this week's meditation because I think it's a really juicy one. It's called interoception, right? And it's when we get internal cues. I talk you through a decent amount of it every time we do a weekly check-in, but I just want to kind of highlight it as we move through today. So find yourself in a posture that will be comfortable enough for you to maintain for anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. Hopefully there's a long spine that facilitates free and easy movement of electrical currents and fluids and all of the things through the body. And then as we bring our awareness into parts of our body today, when I name them off, often I highlight, if you feel tension, release the tension. And I think that's a really great way to start playing with feeling sensation in all of the areas of our body. But today I want the highlight to be feeling the sensation. So as you bring your awareness into your forehead, the eyebrows, the muscles around the eyes, those general areas, try to get a felt sense of the area. Pulsing, tingling, throbbing, tickling, numbness, hot, cold, right? There are more than what I'm naming off, but all of these are sensations. And maybe you even notice deeper in than just the layer of skin if you feel, aching from a headache or whatever that might be. It doesn't just have to be on the surface of the skin. Take it a little deeper in. And yes, if you have tension, please feel free to soften. And then as you come down to the inside of the mouth, instead of just feeling for tension and softening, again, get a felt sense of the jaw, the tongue. But also add in today the teeth, the gums, the upper palate, the lips, the cheeks, and all of that on the inner surface. Can you feel these areas of the body or no? And if the answer is no, that doesn't mean you're a bad yogi. You're not doing anything wrong. It might simply be that the mind doesn't have wires that fire to that area, and you can build those with practice. Bring your awareness into the neck. Let's start on the surface of the skin, right? Maybe some of those muscles on the sides and the back of the neck. Get a felt sense of this area. You don't have to analyze or judge it, right? As a matter of fact, non-judgmental experiencing, simply witnessing. But then can you also get a sense of your throat? That's deeper in. And although we don't often bring our awareness to this part of the body, which means there may not be a lot of, quote, wires from the brain that fire to that area, there are indeed messages that are constantly going back and forth between the throat and the brain that we are unaware of. Think of how many times you swallow or various things. And if you want to get a felt sense of the area because you feel nothing, take a moment and try to swallow. And that might put you in touch, right, with the movement that swallowing brings about, we'll say. muscular action, the rise and the fall of the hyoid bone. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. Go deep inside the shoulder joints. This is a ball and socket joint. The ball is on the upper edge of your humerus bone, the upper arm bone, right? The socket is tricky it's complex, we'll say, but just imagine that being the receiving side, the cup that receives the ball. It's connected to the shoulder blade, the ribs a little bit, right? Various attachment points. Soften. But beyond just the softening, can you get to a felt sense? And if you doubt this work, I just like to remind people, like if we were to injure, say, a part of our rotator cuff or some such thing, we would probably have an acute sense, felt sense of the pain or the numbness or whatever that might bring about. But can you still make contact with this part of your body without it necessarily being injured or in chronic pain? Elbows, bring your awareness to your elbows. And again, as if you could go deep inside that hip socket. Y'all know I love to imagine that behind my eyelids is a screen, of imaging screen of my body, so I can get my close up on the insides of my elbow joints as if I was looking at that. And then bring your awareness into the palms of your hands and your fingers. Of all of the parts of the body, the hands and fingers take up the most space in the brain. The brain has so many wires firing to this area since we use them on such a regular basis. To touch, to feel, to grab, to hold. Right? So try to tune into any energetic feelings you have in that area. And again, that may not be the case for you, but for most of us, this is a place where we can really get a solid felt sense of the palms of the hands and the fingers. And then bring your awareness into your heart center, the chest. See if you can, not see, sorry, feel, try to feel your heart beating. And don't let this work frustrate you. Let it just be something that, I can't sense my heartbeat. This might be something I could come back to and practice on a regular basis. And with time and attention and awareness, might I be able to get a felt sense of this area? Bring your awareness into your belly. And one of the more accessible things, right, is that feeling, that sense of the belly moving away from the spine on the inhale and back to the spine on the exhale. And that's why I bring us to that frequently. It's one that most of us can sense. But just check in and notice if you can sense anything else in the abdominal area. We've got that entire organic body there. And there might not be anything, and that's okay. No worries, no worries. But maybe you feel movement or growling, right? You can sense that. Maybe you feel sated, overfull, hungry. Maybe you feel thirsty. There are urges and things that the body can really help us with this interoception. We can focus on whenever we have the need to urinate, to defecate, gas, right? Whether that is moving up through the throat or down, coughing, sneezing. All of these are things that are very accessible get a felt sense. Bring your awareness into your hip joints. Again, ball and socket joints. So just as if you could have that imaging on the back of your eyelids, where you can see that ball and socket joint, ligaments, tendons, muscles. You don't have to know the names of them or have it entirely, 100% correct from an anatomy book. You don't need that. And you get a felt sense of your hips today at this moment in time. Knees and the soles of the feet. And they don't take up quite as much space in the brain, the soles of the feet, as the hands do, right? But again, they have a pretty good connection to the brain since we are walking on them quite frequently as humans. Bring your palms together in front of your chest. Inhale. Exhale, bowing the head in, just taking a moment of gratitude for these beautiful bodies with all their idiosyncrasies, illnesses, injuries, you name it. Like, how lucky are we to be able to wake up inside this body? Namaste. And just to throw out there, again, I do body scanning and things like that. I try to bring this work in a lot. But if you're really curious about it, keep coming back to this and try to go a little deeper with it than just kind of the feeling that you might have on the skin, right? Bring it deeper in that felt sense and trying to work with sensation. Technically, your inner skin of the lungs, the belly, the various organs, they all have sensory receptors that are connected to our brain. There's information constantly happening. We are unaware of most of it. And we would be overwhelmed if we brought it all in. But I do think we can start to make connections. I often talk about when I took singing lessons, I couldn't feel my upper palate for like 6 months of her working with it, looking at it in a mirror, tapping it. I just couldn't feel it. I can now. So I do think we can build these things in our body, and it's good for so many reasons. Prefrontal cortex, it builds us our executive functioning. It helps with emotional regulation, so that maybe you start to feel your chest constrict and your jaw lock when you start to get a little angry, and you can breathe yourself through it instead of just blowing up at someone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the other one I want to point out is that I think the more intimate we are with this body, right, and the more we pay attention to it and understand its signals, the healthier we are in general. May you be well, friends.